Welcome to 15 Opportunities to Self-Worth, how to empower yourself with transformative tools easily. I am Soma. I am so honored that you are here. And I'm really excited that we are with my friend, dear sister, Sattva sister from India, from America. Let her tell you a little bit about Annemarie. Annemarie with Jyotish Gems. And Annemarie, can you give us a little bit background of who you are and how you got here? Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much. Such an honor to be here. Thank you so much for bringing me into this space. Hello, everybody. My name is Annemarie Brown. I live in Rishikesh, India, where I am a master teacher at a beautiful sanctuary called Sattva Yoga Academy. I've been there for the last 9 years, but originally from the United States. And while spending time there, in addition to teaching, have really immersed myself into the culture of India and into all the magic of India and the different types of treasures that we can find in India, which include gemstones and beautiful textiles. So over these last 9 years, we've developed 2 brands called the Sattva Collection and Sattva Jyotish Gems. And our products are actually meant to be what we call yogic support tools. So, they're really meant to help enhance the quality of the person's life who is wearing them. So we create a lot of different pieces with sacred symbols that support the teachings and the meditation practice, but we work a lot with gemstones, specifically Vedic gemstones, so astrological gemstones that are really meant to enhance one's energy so they can really live into their highest potential. And it's been a really beautiful experience because all of these pieces sort of fit together in the yogic puzzle. So the brands actually are meant to help support people as a practitioner of yoga and meditation. So it's really been beautiful to live there and then also come back to the United States and share all the magic year after year.
Wonderful. Can you tell me a little bit about you? How did you get into this? What made this, when you were in India and you were learning about your own personal tools of evolution? I'm assuming you went over there for self-discovery. And as you had the opportunity of doing breathing techniques, yoga postures, learning about Ayurveda, I mean, all these possibilities, why gemstones? What made it snap for you?
It actually started before I moved to India. I remember I had my first Jyotish reading with our teacher, Anand, and we talked a lot about my chart. And we talked about, some of the areas of opportunity. I was in a corporate life. I was going. In the Ayurvedic perspective, my vata was just totally uncontrolled and very just kind of all over the place energetically. And I remember going to him really desperate, looking for a way to help correct that. And he prescribed emerald to me. And I didn't understand why, but I thought, I really trust this person. So when I go to India, I will get an emerald. So on my first trip to India, after doing my training, I got an emerald ring. And, for emerald, you wear it on your pinky, and this helps to enhance and magnify the energy of Mercury. So Mercury is the planet of, communication, leadership, transactions, but it's a lot of movement. But immediately when I started wearing this emerald, my nervous system sort of went like this and stabilized and settled down. And actually, I really felt this energy support me in all the areas of my life that were a little bit unsteady. So my interest was piqued then. And then once I moved there and really started immersing myself, in the culture there, it's very much part of it to wear astrological gemstones. And in talking to many people and learning, I realized that, it's not just jewelry. They're really meant to help shift your life. And I had experienced that on my own. And then when I studied Jyotish and I really learned the root of it and how they work, I realized this is something I really want to share with other people. For me, it's about supporting, it's about being of service to others. And I really realized through my own experience and understanding the teachings how important it is and how powerful it is for people to actually wear these gemstones. So I've realized proper education is very important in it. But my own experience has revealed to me, you know, how it's impacted my life has been very powerful. And that's where my passion arises from, to share it.
So you've mentioned the word Jyotish a few times, and whether or not people have a full grasp of what Jyotish is, we're going to have a couple of different talks that will touch on Jyotish in this summit. However, can we do a quick elevator explanation? What is Jyotish, so that as we move forward, people have a quick catch up with that?
Beautiful. So Jyotish means the science of light. So this is the Eastern methodology of astrology. So we use the sidereal system for the calculations, whereas Western astrology uses the tropical. So it's going to be slightly different. This is always the most common question. But the science of light, the purpose of that is to really shine light on the aspects of the self which need to be seen. So at that moment of your first breath, your whole birth chart is pretty much created, or your cosmic blueprint. And we see the 9 planets find their way into the 12 different houses and with the 12 different signs. So we use this sort of to look at where the energy is in your birth chart to show what is your highest potential in this lifetime. We can see exactly where your strengths might be, but we can also see where there might be some sticky karmic residue, whether it's from past life or whatever it might be, and where there could be, you know, a little bit more challenge. So it's a really beautiful tool because it helps you take things a little bit less personally that you might consider challenges in your life. But you can also see what's my highest potential. You know, we're here to grow. So we all want to step into our highest version of ourselves, right? So when getting a Jyotish reading, it helps you understand these aspects of yourself a little bit more, you know, and then part of the Jyotish are recommending what we call upayas, which are remedies to help correct or, you know, enhance certain energies in the chart. And the gemstones are one of the upayas.
So when somebody uses a gemstone, the gemstones that I would use would be different than the gemstones that you would use. Even if we were sisters in the same blood family, would that would also be different, correct?
Yes, exactly. It would be different because it's based on your chart. So in Jyotish, we like to strengthen the 1st, 5th, and 9th house in the chart. So for everybody, that's going to be different. So, you know, we all come in with our own individual cosmic blueprint, even if we're in the same bloodline,
Right.
which is really
Okay.
incredible.
And so the gemstone in and of itself, you talked about wearing it on the pinky. Currently, I am wearing my mala that I got in India, and it's citrine with garnet on there. So
Beautiful.
the citrine is going to give me a particular energy. The garnet is going to give me a particular energy, and that's unique to me. Talk about wearing them, because I know that I was instructed to wear this particular mala on the inside of my clothing versus on the outside. Why would somebody, and how much does that really matter?
That's a beautiful question, actually. So when we're wearing the Jyotish rings, first of all, it's really important that the ring is set in a way where there's nothing blocking the energy from the stone into the skin. Okay, so the back of the setting is open. That way, the energy of the planet becomes magnified. So for instance, I have a yellow sapphire on here. So I'm channeling the energy of Jupiter. So that energy is magnified in through the stone and then into the physical body, right? So the rings, it's very important that they're set in this way. A lot of people show me their rings and they're like, oh, can I wear this for Jyotish? But the setting is not correct. It's also important that the gemstones are undrilled, natural, and unheated. So this is for rings. And then also malas are prescribed as well. Malas are also another beautiful and intentional way to connect to the energy in your chart. So for you, wearing citrine and garnet really helps to enhance self-worth with the garnet, the energy of the sun, and then Surya. And then the citrine is expansion and creativity and joy. Now, the reason that you want to wear it touching your skin is because, again, we don't want anything in between the gemstone and the skin, because still as a mala, it can help magnify the energy of that planet, and then it's absorbing into the physical body. And also, you know, sometimes it's nice to keep things that are sacred a little bit more behind the scenes and not necessarily be wearing it out for everybody to, you know, compliment you
Wonderful.
on.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for that. So I've seen people really speak to crystals in their living space or decorative pieces, and you'll see them in gem shops where they are cut open or they're sliced a certain. So does that, I know we don't want to use words like right or wrong. Is that wrong? Is that not it as enhancing? And my son, who digs and mines stones all over the place all the time, he brings me these little pockets of something. I don't really know what to do with them. So I smile, I love it. And then I set them. So I was hoping to get a little bit more clarity. What do I do with these pieces that he brings me, or these little nuggets? And they have to be a terminated scepter on the end, and there has to be some natural. Can you explain to why would we want to have them in the home, and what is more decorative and what is more actually going to enhance my self-worth, my energy, what I'm
Mhm.
looking for in that space?
So that's a great question. So this is a little bit different than talking about the astrological gems. So we'll kind of switch gears here. And this is also very important because, like I said, at the end of the day, we're here to evolve and grow and to really, you know, increase that value of self-love, of self-worth, and really make that commitment to ourselves to do the things that are most supportive. So for a lot of people, putting certain crystals in their home is a very supportive tool. Okay. So like you said, you'll see in a lot of these stores, really big gems, or crystals, you know, like a beautiful amethyst cut open and so much magic is there inside. So a lot of people place these in their homes for certain purification reasons. Or sometimes they do decoratively, not realizing actually what type of energy that it brings into the home. So there are certain crystals that are really supportive for your home. So the amethyst, like I just said, or big crystals, rose quartz, anything that's a little bit lighter in color and that has more properties of cleansing and strengthening the aura. These are great to have in your space at home to keep the energy clear, because, you know, you're there, you have people coming to visit you, you know, all these different energies, or the environment or the place that you live in, all these different energies affect our living space, and we don't realize that infects us internally too. So having these crystals in your living space can help, you know, keep the energy clear and increase that, you know, sattvic value, which is that value of peacefulness and calm and balance. But it's also important to make sure, and this is very, you know, a lot of people don't do this, but it's important to cleanse those crystals because they do gather energy and they do absorb. And if you have like a huge crystal sitting in your house for like 10 years and you've never cleaned it, think about all the energy that it's absorbed, whether it's from, you know, something emotional or an argument or just a bunch of different people from a party coming over. So it's important to cleanse them. You know, if you live near a river or the ocean, that would be optimal, but also just, you know, washing them, you know, putting them under the full moon in water and making sure you're doing certain rituals with mantra to clear them. So for the living space, these are the best ones. I mean, a large tourmaline is always good too. That's a very grounding and earthy energy. So if you're someone that tends to be a little, you know, spacious, tourmaline is very good to have in the home as well for grounding.
Excellent. So can you bring us to, if somebody were to say, okay, I don't even know where to begin. Now, you have a free offering that you can announce right now, and we'll also put that in the comments and in our email. What would your free offering be?
So you know, I really find great joy in doing this for people. So my offering will be, you know, a free gemstone consultation. So my email address will be shared with you, also my WhatsApp number, but you can contact me either way. And what I need is your time, date, and location of birth. And I plug that into my program. And then that way I can have a look at your chart briefly and then tell you which gemstone would be the most supportive for you to wear in your chart to really help you kind of step into your next level.
So that's something they can do immediately. They can schedule this appointment with you. You'll
Yes.
give them something specific to them, and
Yeah.
they can actually have their own visceral experience. And you can guide them on the type of stone to purchase, and they could probably get something locally even. I mean, they can start small, right? They could start with a local store, finding the right, if as long as it meets the specifications. And then when they feel that experience, come back to you and say, okay, what are my next steps? And maybe I really want a mala, or maybe I really want a ring. But they
Mhm.
can, a person could start and feel that
Absolutely.
energy.
Yeah,
Wonderful.
absolutely. Absolutely. And I'll include a few other little remedies in there, like, wearing a specific color to attune to that planet. There's little things we can do. So, but I'm
So
happy to share that.
can you speak to rituals? You talked a couple times about using certain rituals, and we're not going to go too advanced for anybody here, but what would be a simple, hey, I'm not really religious, or I don't know that I follow any particular type of spirituality. What's a ritual that's very natural that someone could do with a particular stone? A 5-minute ritual or something. What could they be doing?
Yeah, beautiful. I get asked this question a lot. It's first of all, it's always important for us to remember that all is sacred. Whether you're on a spiritual path or not, you should experience appreciation, gratefulness, right? So this is, the intention when we're doing any type of sacred ritual is to really tune into our heart and really take that moment to align ourselves with the intention that's arising in our heart. So a simple ritual that you could do, with or without a gemstone, I always suggest a ritual before people put on their ring is just to simply light a candle, wake up early in the morning before the sun rises, light a candle intentionally. As you light that candle, tune into what the meaning of the fire is, and that's transformation. And then as you do that, take a few breaths, then just light an incense stick, you know, brush it over you. This helps to clear your energy field and tune into the element of space. And, just close your eyes and just for 5 minutes, breathe. And just, when you bring yourself back into the space after 5 minutes, just again, aligning with whatever intention is in your heart. Sometimes intentions come from our mind that actually aren't aligned. But if you can take the 5 minutes to breathe as you do that ritual, and then at the end, tune into your heart, something will arise that actually is more in alignment with nature.
That's beautiful. So simple.
So
Anybody can
simple.
do it. So
It makes a
simple.
big difference.
And some people are just not morning people whatsoever. And they're just for whatever. Can they do this just at sunset? Can they do this
Yes,
at dusk? Can they do this, take their own quiet personal time? Sun has just set, or watch the sunset and have that kind of be a ritual. Would that be for our
absolutely.
night owls? Wonderful.
Absolutely. It's just more about finding that 5 minutes in your day. So
Sure.
whenever it feels most juicy, I don't like that word, but it is.
I like
Whenever
that
it
word.
feels
It is.
juicy to
It's
you,
juicy and
that's when
yummy
you
and
do it.
perfect. And are there certain gemstones that are more commonly used for self-worth, enhancing that persona, or is it so specifically personal? One gemstone that kind of enhances a person's self-worth might be benign to another person.
Right. So
Okay.
when we're looking at Jyotish, when we look at your chart, the whole point of getting a gem is to enhance your self-worth, because
And to be a personal.
yeah, and that's what evolution is, right? You have to have a strong sense of self-worth in order to move forward and evolve. So any stone prescribed in Jyotish will support that. Now, if you want to just go and buy like a little crystal to keep in your pocket, which that's how I started actually. When I really think back, I used to carry a citrine and a rose quartz little crystal just in my pocket when I was at work, before I had this reading that told me to get an emerald. But so these little crystals, I would always recommend rose quartz, because rose quartz is connected with the heart, with the energy of Venus and self-love, compassion, grace. So this is a good stone. And then also garnet, like I said, because you're wearing the garnet, it's tuning in with the sun. And the sun is the Atman, it's the soul, it wants to shine bright and uplift. So, but a lower value of that could be some issues with self-worth and self-confidence. So garnet is a great gemstone as well for that. So just getting like a little piece, keeping it in your pocket, or if you have an altar or a sacred space at home, you can keep it there.
People in the West have gemstones according to the month. Like garnet is for January.
Right.
Say, I think diamond is April, that sort of thing.
Birthstone.
Is that, can you speak to that? Do you have an opinion of that? Are there any precautions or guidelines to follow, as it relates to any of that?
Well, again,
and you can speak to your opinion as well as what you feel factual.
Yeah. So the birthstone, I think it's beautiful and it's sacred, to have a gem where you're feeling like, oh, it's my birthstone, but again, it comes from the more Western standpoint. So my opinion on it is just, it's beautiful. If somebody wants to wear their birthstone, I have a lot of people who, when I look at their Jyotish chart and I prescribe a gem, they say, oh, that's my birthstone too. And it's beautiful. But it's just completely different from the Vedic perspective and Jyotish perspective. So it's beautiful. If you want to wear your birthstone, wear it. I'm sure that there's some, every gem has a meaning. But again, when we look at the Jyotish chart, it's like really going to a more deep level and pinpointing exactly what parts of your dharma that you need to enhance and using specific gems for that.
It's custom. It's specific to you.
Very specific to you. Whereas the birthstone is like everyone born in June is Gemini. And everyone should wear, I think it's opal. I don't know. I'm a June person. I don't even know the birthstone.
Right.
Where this is very specific to you as an individual.
Right. And that is the beauty of Jyotish astrology, because in the tropical or the Western astrology, everybody is a particular sun sign and that's how they identify.
Yeah.
But what we look at in Jyotish is really more your moon nakshatra or your ascendant sign. Exactly. And so it's the ascendant, that's that star cluster that's on the eastern horizon. Is that how you designate somebody's gemstone, or is it different nakshatras? And we won't get into the word nakshatra, I guess, because I could scare people with that. So we can say, we'll have that for the video on astrology.
Yeah.
But what designates it? Or is it like lots of planets or the heaviest amount of location? Can you speak to that just kind of briefly with keeping it? Because people want to know the science and the why. Like
they do. And I love talking about this, and I answer this question most often. So like
we have 3 minutes we can talk on this subject and then we'll wrap up.
I'll make it quick. So like you said, at the moment of our first breath, we look at the constellation that's rising on the eastern horizon. That constellation becomes our first house in the Jyotish chart, or our rising sign, our lagna. So what happens then is that sign, that constellation, is what then lays out the whole chart. So like Aries rising, that's the first sign. So then what we do in Jyotish, we strengthen the first, fifth, and ninth house. So for an Aries rising, the fifth house would be ruled by Leo because it's the fifth sign. The ninth house would be ruled by Sagittarius. It's the ninth side. So for someone with Aries, we would recommend yellow sapphire for Sagittarius, that's Jupiter, or the ruby, which is Surya, the sun, or for Aries, it would be Mars, coral. So we look at it that way. So it depends which rising sign you have that makes the whole chart. And then it's always uniform though. First, fifth, or ninth house is what we strengthen. These are your houses of Dharma. These are the houses that really fuel you and energize you to step into your next level of manifesting, right? Now, sometimes after that, we look at what's called the dasha, and this is a cycle that you're in. And I'm sure you're going to have a session to talk about this, but we run these different cycles throughout our life. Some are short, like 6 years, some are long, like 19. Sometimes we'll give a gemstone for that dasha as well. But the first place we go is your first, fifth, or ninth house.
So if anybody is in a really challenging time, you might be able to, at that moment of doing that quick snapshot reading, and say, this would normally be what I would strengthen, but I can see that you're actually in the middle of what I refer to sometimes as a hailstorm, or you're in the middle of a
Yeah,
desert blazing with sun and you have no protection. And if you can have a little bit of energy around that, it just gives you support. I once heard
absolutely.
somebody say that gemstones are like supplements,
Yep.
natural supplements. Can you speak to that? Real, just
Yes,
touch on
that's
that.
so the gemstones come from the womb of the earth, right? From the beginning of time, where we can trace yoga back to what we call the Shastras. These are the ancient scriptures. The rishis, who are the original yogis and the ones who channeled this knowledge of Jyotish, were using these gemstones that were coming from the earth to help align with the planets. So, that's the root of it. So when we use them for astrology, they work as supplements. So you can imagine you're taking a vitamin C every day. There's a specific reason. So within Jyotish, you're wearing this yellow sapphire for Jupiter every day, because it's really taking and aligning the energy of Jupiter, all the high values of a Jupiter, and bringing it into your being and into your life. So expansion, joy, creativity, wisdom, these are the values. So it's like you're taking a supplement, you're bringing it in that way. So with the Jyotish gems, we recommend to wear them all the time, even when you're sleeping, when you shower. I don't really take mine off, because we're constantly receiving the benefit of that supplement. So they're used as magnifiers. They magnify this energy of the planet versus, versus balancing. They act as magnifiers, like a supplement would.
Amazing. And excuse me, I like the idea of it being a supplement, because I know that some people find that their energy isn't that sensitive. They don't get a response from a supplement,
Mm-hmm.
and they may not feel a response with a gemstone. So in those situations, because I work more with Ayurveda and food and oils, I will tell people, completely desensitize yourself from all aromas for 24 hours, or do this or that with your food for 24 hours, then bring in the supplement so that you can experience the difference. It's like you can't hear people whispering if you're in a loud environment. Go into a
Right.
quiet environment, clear your ears for a second, then come back, and you'll have a new sense of sensations. Have you had people say, oh, I used this gemstone and it didn't work for me? And what was your response? Or have you not had that? Or what do you say to the doubters?
Interestingly enough, I've never had anybody say that to me, which is why I'm so passionate about what I do, because I do have people who purchase gems feeling a little weary. And, I always share, I've never had someone experience a negative effect. And in fact, I get so many messages from people who experience quick result. Like, you might not feel the energy of it. If your system's not sensitive, you might not feel the energy of it. But the most important thing is to align yourself with the intention of the stone. So I always give personal rituals to each person when they get their ring, and really explain what is the intention and what are you magnifying with this stone. So when you consciously align yourself, there's a certain type of energy that happens, a synergy. You're activating your stone. But I receive so many messages from people who,
Beautiful.
yeah, so it's good.
Before we wrap up, I'm going to totally put you on the spot. Will you take us through, today is Thursday. Will you take us through a 1 minute, 2 minute, just like what would be a breathing thing that we could do, a mantra that you could repeat, something we could say out loud to tune in with the energy of Jupiter? And it doesn't matter what day you're watching this on, because Thursday, Jupiter is a day of expansion. I can let Annemarie speak to that, and she can speak to that while she's contemplating what she wants to do. And again, anything really simple that anybody could do just to tune into the energy of Jupiter or a Thursday.
Beautiful. I love it. I love Thursdays. So yes, like Somah said, Thursday is the day of Jupiter. So Jupiter is the guru planet. So the Sanskrit name is Brihaspati. So it's expansion, joy, creativity, the color yellow or golds, which I realized I didn't plan to wear this color, but it just happened.
Yes.
So, today really experiencing some hue of golden light, golden color. And, you know, each planet is ruled by one of the different gods or goddesses in the Vedic tradition. So Ganesha is the ruler of Jupiter. And for those of you who know who Ganesha is or don't know, he's the elephant that you'll see with an elephant's head on a man's body. And he's known as the remover of obstacles. So it's really beautiful to tune in with the energy of Ganesha on Thursdays, to really tune into the value in your life. Like, what do you need to overcome? And remember that many of our obstacles come from our own mind and our own psyche, and to just tune into the value of joy and abundance and expansion. So we could do 12 rounds of the Ganesha mantra.
Let's do that.
Good?
Yes.
Beautiful. So 12 rounds is the shortened version, but I always recommend 108. So the mantra is Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. So if you want to just close your eyes and inhale, visualizing golden light, the light of Jupiter at your third eye. And then exhale again, visualizing that golden light of Jupiter at the third eye. So continue visualizing that light, and we'll begin to chant. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. 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 Just keep your eyes closed and locate Jupiter at the second chakra. This is where Jupiter resides, where Ganesha resides, and experience the golden light of Jupiter at the second chakra, the element of water, flowing in the second chakra, filling it with light. And keeping your inner awareness of golden light, slowly open your eyes and come back into the space.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And what a lovely way to complete our conversation. Mantra is such a beautiful avenue also of self-worth. And
Absolutely.
when we're using these sacred traditions, these sacred tools, self-worth is a matter of making choices and implementing some new habits to shift the old paradigm. And you can see that in some of these chart too, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We always prescribe or recommend specific mantra practice for your chart
to help stabilize the mind. Yeah. Anything else? Tell us, how can they get in touch with you?
So yes, please reach out. I'm happy to support you. Should I just say my WhatsApp number?
Yeah, go ahead. If you're comfortable giving your WhatsApp number, that's for your business, please share.
WhatsApp business. It's area code 310-857-4793. Or you can email me at info@sattva, SATTVA, Jyotish, JYOTISH, gems, GEMS.com.
And you're on Instagram, aren't you?
I am on Instagram. Thanks for reminding me. So our handle is @sattva, SATTVA, Jyotish, JYOTISH, gems. And then also our other handle is @the Collection _.
And then they can see your product. They can see gems. They can see rings. Everything. They can see what it looks like. And you crystals. Have videos of little things too, where you show the front and the back. And and you'll answer questions if they comment on your Instagram page. Can you show us something? Wonderful. Oh, thank you again for your blessed path, you following your own, and us meeting along the way and speaking to everybody here. I really appreciate your time, Annemarie.
Thank you so much, Soma, for having me. And I'm so excited to see all the other beautiful offerings that are part of this summit. Thank you to all of
Fantastic.
you.
15 opportunities to self-worth. You can do this. We're all in this together. Namaste.
Namaste.